Hey Hamilton, great jamming with you.
Well, hey, thanks for inviting me into your musical world. It's a fun place to hang out for me.
Say, I don't know much about that instrument you're playing. Can you tell me what makes the pedal steel guitar unique?
Like steel guitar is unique in that like you're not there's there's really no frets other than visually. There's underneath the strings, but like you're never touching the fretboard, so you can just slide all the way up and down. But then pedal steel gets unique in that you have these pedals and levers underneath the instrument. Mine has three pedals on the floor and then a lever coming down on either side of both of my knees. And all those mechanisms are like either tightening or loosening certain strings by a certain amount. You play a C chord, and then with a just without moving the bar at all, you engage some pedals, and suddenly you've got an F chord, more different pedals, a G7, now a D minor, C minor, and I'm doing all that without moving the bar at all.
Oh, wow.
Some people call this the inversion machine. Oh yeah, I think that's probably what makes it the most unique. That and that it's like was invented in the 40s, which is very young for an instrument. Well, I started on lap steel, and I did that because there was a band that I saw that like had a lap steel player at one point, but when I first saw them, it was just a trio with no steel guitar, and I got their CD and just like couldn't stop listening to it, and just like I had the idea, I was like, if I could learn lap steel, maybe they would let me play with them. I actually saw the singer walking down the street. I was driving and I pulled over. It was kind of a quiet street in Portland, Maine, and I was like, "Hey, man, I play lap steel, and I'd love to play with you guys sometime." I saw y'all play, and he was like, "Sure, you can just come to practice." So I was like, "Okay, I gotta get a lap steel now." I went and got one, and just like practiced feverishly, and I played in that band for like a while, and then about a year later, I found a pedal steel, like a used student model pedal steel on Craigslist, and the first show I ever played pedal steel at was sold out show in like a 300 cap room, and I had no idea what I was doing. I'd do that, and people thought it was awesome. That's what got me started. Now it was about 8 years ago. In the last couple years, I have listened a lot to this album called Pedal Steel Guitar by this steel guitarist named Will Van Horn, and it's just instrumentals, but like he's got really nice like beats, and he just does some interesting things like playing with technique and like the roll of the instrument. He does like some cool kind of like palm muting.
Mm.
He does like a, do you know the Ethio jazz? I think he was a marimba player, Mulatu Atstati. He's one of the more well-known musicians out of Ethiopia. Will Van Horn covered one of his songs, which is super cool.
Mm.
Just to hear like an Ethiopian melody being played on pedal steel, and he plays sometimes with a band called Krungbin. It's like instrumental, like Thai infused pop. So in the last few years, that one has really stuck out to me. A lot of people just don't know what it is. People always are like, "What's that?" Weird piano that you're playing, or I think is kind of overlooked is that it's not just like a country music instrument, and that it's I really got into it because I was excited by the sounds that it makes, and just like that it seemed so like limitless. But like the more I learn pedal steel music, the more I learn that like people have like the whole time they've been experimenters, and I think that's what draws like most people who play to it.